Hello, hello, my stamping friends. It's Pam Jorgensen here. I am stamping in my studio today here at Stamping in My PJs, and I hope that you guys are having a great day. I'm a demonstrator here in regional Victoria, Australia, and I love fun folds. Now, you may be here because you have signed up for my newsletter, and if so, you are going to be getting all of the measurements to make this fun fold as a special thank you for signing up. If you are just seeing this on Facebook or on YouTube, follow the link to sign up for my newsletter, and you too can have a written tutorial with the measurements for this and one other project. So let's see what's so cool about this particular card. So this card is called the Slide and Lock card, and what it does is it slides and locks. How cool is that? Just a really fun fold. So I'm going to show you how to make the fold part. I'll talk about decorating, but for the most part, you will get to decorate however you want it with the supplies that you have at your house. So let's get started. So I have chosen for my colors, Moody Mauve, Peacock. I'm using some of the gorgeous autumn. Let's see, what's that paper called? It is in the current mini catalog right now. Autumn, specialty paper, autumn. Oh my gosh, I didn't think I'd forget it. But anyway, I did. So it's stunning paper in the mini catalog right now and some very vanilla. So let's get going. So first off, remember, I will have a written tutorial for all these for those of you who sign up for my newsletter. And if not, you can write these down yourself and put those in a safe spot. So this piece of Moody Mauve paper, this is what I'm calling your base of your card. This is 5 1/4 inches long by 11. Okay, and we are going to score it. So I'm going to score one end at 1 3/4 inch. And the next measurement at 3 1/2. I'm going to take my paper out of my paper trimmer, flip it around, and I'm going to go to 1 3/4 inch again. Make sure you don't use your cutter, and slide down to 3 1/2. And the reason that I do it this way is that I know both sides are totally equal in case I'm off. Now, you also will have in Moody Mauve, you will cut yourself 3, these are what I call the wings. And these are 1 3/4 inches wide by 4 inches long, and you need 3 of those. I have some very vanilla. Now this is my insert. This is where you would write. This is 3 3/4 inches across by 5 inches long. With my Pretty Peacock, this is your base. Now this is 4 1/4 inches wide by 5 1/2 inches long, and then I have another piece of the same color. This is 3 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches long, and then I have a very vanilla piece that is 3 3/4 inches wide by let me look. That's wrong. Sorry, guys. 2 3/4 inches wide by 3 1/2. So basically just a layer that will fit really nicely on top. And then you will need 3 pieces of designer series paper. Now these are 1 5/8 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches long. So let's see how to put this card together. So the first thing, like I said, I am not going to be decorating this card. I'm just going to show you how to make it, and then I'll show you my original one again. So we're going to take our big piece of cardstock, and we are going to fold on those scored marks. We're going to do a valley fold, and we're going to come back and do a mountain fold. And when you do that, use your bone folder. I found, and we're going to bone fold these again, and we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Valley, valley. And what you're going to find is that you will have a space between there, and that is fine. But what I want you to do is make sure that the edges of your card are perfectly lined up, and then we are actually going to flip these, and we are going to bone fold those really, really well, the opposite direction, so that it helps our card lay flatter, right? So once you've got that first section all nice and straight, then you can flip it over and bone fold the opposite way. All right, so now we can go back. We're gonna go valley, valley, and we'll burnish that one more time. And they will spring up a little bit. That's just the beauty of this particular card, but we wanna make sure that those edges are nice and flush. All right, so you now have something that looks like that. So once you have that, you can do this a couple different ways. I like to go ahead and leave it like this to start with. And if you need to, you could go ahead and put your insert in. I think for this card, I'm going to, because then you guys can see exactly what I'm doing, and I can finish the insert at a later time when I want to decorate this particular card. So there is what our card looks like with the insert on it. And then I'm just going to flip that over. Now you could use your liquid glue if you wanted. For ease, I am using my Stampin' Seal today. So I'm going to layer that smack dab down into that big layer. And I just want to have a nice border around the whole thing. Let's see if I got that. There we go. And that is going to become our card base. So it looks like that standing up, and it looks like that when it's laying down closed. So now what we will have is we will have our pop-up piece, which is right here in the front. And just for this project, I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this layer on here because I'm going to show you a couple things and need to have that ready to go. But like I said, you can decorate that however you wish. And now all you should have left are these 3 pieces of Designer Series paper and these 3 pieces of cardstock. Do not adhere those yet, because if you do, you will regret it. Trust me. Okay. So the first thing that you're going to need is you're going to grab one of these, what I call wings, and you will need a pencil for this and your liquid glue. So what we want to do is we want to take one of these wings and we're going to line that up flush with the left side of our card and the bottom. And I'm just going to put a little pencil mark right here where it's lining up on the edge of my card right here. What that is it's a guide to tell me where I can add some of my liquid glue, because we are going to glue this section down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add glue here. I don't want to have so much glue that it oozes out, okay? I'm going to flip it over, and because I have those measurements, I know I can't have any glue past that. I'm going to line that up flush with the bottom of my card and the side, and I'm going to give that a push, making sure that everything is as straight as can be. And what you end up with then is this little wing sitting out on your project, okay? Let's do that again. So we're going to take another one of those wings. We're going to go up to the top of our project. And the same thing, I'm going to make sure it's nice and flush at the top and the side. And I'm going to put a little pencil mark where I cannot have any glue go past. Now, because I can't see over the camera, I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to take my glue. I know these are my pencil marks. I can't go past there. Add a little bit of glue. And still working on this left side where I have the bottom wing, I'm going to flip it over and line that up flush with the top and the side of my project. Now I'm going to have to tip mine up so I can see it. This is probably the most important thing that you can do, is to get that as even and as flush as you can at the top and the side of your card. Okay, so we now should have something that looks like this. You have 2 arms on this side and no arms on the right. So we need to get an arm on the right. Hopefully, if you have measured and cut and adhered these top 2 wings, this wing should just slide in between. But what you need to do is lay that down in the middle after you've made sure that it slides, and then pull that out, because we need to know now this time where we need to glue on the top and the bottom, and we also need to know where we can glue up to. So I know that I can glue here, and I know I can't go past that pencil mark there and the pencil mark there. So let me grab my glue. And I'm just going to flip that over, and I'm going to glue this piece between those 2 marks, lining it up flush with the edge and trying to get that as straight as possible. And I'm going to erase those pencil marks. Okay? And massage that down. And now what should happen is your project should come together just like that. Boom. Okay, so let's figure out how you put on your designer series paper. So working on this right side now, where you have 1 arm coming out, we are going to take one of our pieces of designer series paper, and we are going to adhere that. And when you adhere that, you want to adhere that right smack in the middle. And you're going to see that there's a little bit of a wider border on the right and the left, and that is okay. So you want to get this as close in the center as you can, even though the borders look really small on the top and the bottom. As long as they're balanced on each of the sides and they have an even balance on the top and the bottom, that is what we want. Give that a nice push. Okay, so we're starting with the right side first, the middle piece of our card. Now, when we adhere our next 2 pieces of designer series paper, what we want to do is if we centered this piece of paper down on this little wing, what happens then is you have really huge chunks in between. So this time, for spacing, I guess I should explain that a little bit better. So this time, what I'm going to do is when I adhere this piece of designer series paper, and you can have that one out if you want, I am going to line this up with the edges so that I have equal spacing on the edges, but I want this piece to be flush with the top of this wing. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm going to come like this, making sure that I'm lining up the left and the right edge of the designer series paper so they flow, but I'm lining it up with the top of this little wing. So see that? It's lined up at the top, and I need to pull that down a little bit. Okay. And now we're going to repeat the same with this top one, only this time we're going to line it up with the bottom of that wing. When we get done, when we are finished, you will end up with an even border everywhere on your project. Okay, so we're lining that up flush with the bottom, equal sides on both the right and the left. And when we put it together, see how that has even border in between? All right, now let's talk about how we put this piece on. So what you do to decorate on the inside, it doesn't matter, or even on the front. But what we need to do is we need to attach it to that middle wing only, because otherwise your card is going to glue shut. So whether you use dimensionals or whether you use liquid glue, that's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and use glue because I think that because this card's going to have a little bit of action, I want it to stick together. So I'm eyeballing where my glue can go. You could mark it with your pencil, but because of the patterns, I kind of know where I want my glue to go. So I'm just going to add some liquid glue only in this middle, the wing that comes out on the right. And then I'm just going to center my shape. So you could use circles, you could use the deckled circles, you could use rectangles, you could use the nested essential dies, whatever you wanted. But the main thing is whatever you're adhering down has to be attached only in that middle section. And you do want that to kind of be where you want that to go. And boom, just like that, you have that locking mechanism for a fun card. So let's bring this one back in. You can see I've attached some of the leaves, and I've used some of the twine that looks like this. I pulled it apart just to add a little bit of texture behind there. And then I've just done the same thing on the inside. So I hope you have enjoyed this slide and lock card. I look forward to sending you some more tutorials, and reach out if you have any questions.